Hey, welcome back to the Right Cut Live. I'm Mark Cotraire.
And I'm Colin, a.k.a. Mr. Right.
Where even when he's wrong, he's still right.
Yes, sir.
Well, Mr. Colin, it's been a good week so far. Doing really good on the podcast, on our numbers. Still number 3 in the world.
Yeah, we're getting pretty consistent with this good stuff.
Listen, I love all the ideas that we had, too, about the YouTube channel.
Oh, yeah.
Can't wait, man.
Oh, well, we'll just give y'all a little sneak peek. We're going back in the day for you.
You just be ready. It's going to be a lot of fun. I really can't wait till when we roll that out. It's going to be great. Before we get started, go ahead and tell everybody where we can be found.
We're going to be found on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Podomatic, Buzzsprout, all that good stuff. So go look us up at any of those at The Right Cut Live and give us a listen. And we'll also share the link on Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff so you can get it a little bit easier.
Absolutely. And listen, when you're doing a search, you can search us on The Right Cut Live. On some of them, it's set up as Colin and Mark's podcasts, so you can check out either one of those. And real quick, a commercial to some of our friends again. You know we hit them up every week. It's important that you go visit our friends at Nova Nutrition. Go get healthy, man. They'll hook you up. Go get you a loaded tea. Go get you a meal replacement shake. They got all the goodies, all the good stuff, and you can enjoy good tasting drinks and shakes and not feel blah afterwards.
Facts.
And you can go see our other friends at Nolan Sports. Go see Mike and Tammy over there. Tell them we sent you as well. Go get any memorabilia, clothing, hats, you name it. Any kind of sports team that you want, even if you watch and follow teams that nobody else does.
I hope we don't have Bama stuff.
They do.
Oh,
They do. They're smart, man.
Sinful.
They got it, though. Go see them, and you can see them in any of their 3 locations. They got one in Hammond, one in the French Quarter, and one in the Mall, Louisiana. Go hook them up. Go see them, and they'll be happy to know that Mark and Colin sent you in.
Oh, yeah. You got anything else, or are we hopping into it?
We hopping off into it, man.
Oh, snap. What are we talking about first, then?
Well, let's hit up a little bit of our – let's just lay out the format for this week first. So we're getting a little bit of order on there. We're going to hit up on the news for the week, sports news.
Yeah.
Then we're going to hit up on that old Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Going to talk a little bit about the National Signing Day if you want to.
Oh, yeah. We're going to talk about that a little bit.
Talk about a couple other things. And then we're also going to give our next top 10. I'm really excited about it. I know you are too.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll do some explanation as we're doing that top 10 as well. So
For sure.
First off, we'll jump off into a little bit of football news. I know football season's almost over with. Well, it's over with, but I'll get into the reason why it's not over with in a moment.
Here's the thing. Football's never over.
Football's never over.
Is it really, though?
No.
It's never over?
No, and I'll explain why it's not over shortly. But the biggest football news share this week,
The beard of the NFL.
other than the Super Duper Bowl, is the beard who retired this week, Eric Weddle, who ran a 4.4 in the combine when he was there. Bad dude.
He is one of the great safeties of the last decade, for sure.
Yeah, I think he's probably a second or third ballot Hall of Famer.
Gotta be.
Yeah.
Easily.
They'll probably overlook him on the
He was
first round.
really underrated. He didn't really get that much recognition. You knew he was a great safety, but you really didn't look at him as like, oh, God, he's top tier. But really, Eric Weddle did so much for the teams he was on, whether it was making plays or making the other people around him better. He did everything right, and he was a consistent player. That was what was great about him.
Yeah, and his announcement, especially on Twitter, was when he was retiring, his hashtag was beard out. I loved it. Mic drop with beard out.
I mean, you can't not like Eric Weddle.
That's Hall of Fame right there.
He's a great player, great guy, all around.
That's
awesome.
a Hall of Fame mic drop, Hall of Fame hashtag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah. Major League Baseball news. Basically, the big news in there, other than Mookie Betts being traded, is that, still ongoing. You have one team.
Chaos.
Well, let's just call it like this. We have one team who got in trouble because they cheated better than the other teams cheated. So, big whoop. Moving on. NBA news.
That was quick.
Yeah.
So NBA news. Trade deadline seemed a little bit more what's the word? A little bit more active than usual. Yeah, that's a good word. Yeah. You got D'Lo traded to the Timberwolves for Andrew Wiggins and a pick, which in my opinion was a really good trade for both teams because, I mean, D'Lo and Steph, and when Klay Thompson comes back, they weren't all going to be able to coincide on one court. It just wasn't going to happen because all of them really need the ball in their hands. They're all scorers.
Right.
So Andrew Wiggins being kind of a more complete role player in a sense, they really needed that. So and obviously the Timberwolves really needed another big name there because Andrew Wiggins, he's a good player, but he just wasn't working there. He wasn't meshing with the team. So I think it was a good trade there. And then we saw one of the stupidest trades I've ever seen of all time. Andre Drummond going to the Cavs for, I think it was John Henson. Ooh, who was it? John Henson, it was another player and a second-round pick. So let's just talk about that for a second.
It was a stupid trade.
So the Cavs are going to end up with probably a top 5 pick. You got the expiring contract of Andre Drummond, who I do not think is going to re-sign. Yes, you could argue and say, well, they got him. He's got a contract, and they might get rid of his contract at the end. But guess what? He's got a $29 million player option that he can sign at the end of the year. And guess what? I don't think he's going to want to give up $29 million.
It ain't happening.
So he's going to do that little player option. And then he might just sit the whole season. You never know.
Well, you also had the AI situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was a situation in itself. I mean, Memphis didn't want him.
Yeah, they didn't. And the Heat almost got even as good of a trade as that was, which that did help both teams because they sent off Winslow, who he was doing pretty well. He's a good young talent, but it's just the Heat are in more of a win-now situation. They're not trying to develop a lot of players. And he still needed some development, even though he's been in the league for about 3-4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it was great for the Heat as well because they needed something after LeBron left, LeBuhu left.
They needed a vet.
And they got the real vet there, Pat Riley.
Oh yeah,
it just gets things going, man.
Every team he's been on.
He makes Spoelstra look like a good coach, doesn't he?
He does. He makes everywhere he goes, he's made everybody look good because that he just knows how to run organizations.
Yeah, too bad he didn't win one with the Knicks.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't think the Knicks have been the same since he left there.
Knicks have been garbage. I don't even remember the last time they were good.
They just fired somebody else in their front office and something. I don't know.
Yeah, the president. He's gone.
That's a debacle of no wonder why nobody wants to go there and play.
Yeah, it's a bad situation. Yeah. But to finish it off, we'll talk about the Pels a little bit. They've kind of been playing well. Zion finally came back. He doesn't look 100%. Obviously, I don't think he is 100%. He looks like he's playing at about maybe 75-80% right now. But overall, the team seems like it's gelling. I mean, obviously, we're not world beaters yet. I think there's still a couple of pieces that need to be added before we can be considered elite, especially a coach, because I still don't like
I was about to say that's the piece that really needs to be.
I don't like him as a coach. I don't think he's a good coach for our type of team, which is young. He's a coach that needs to be coaching a team that doesn't need to be coached. Kind of like if you go to a team where LeBron's at.
Where he's the coach, GM.
Yeah.
All that. Yeah.
That's where Alvin Gentry needs to be. Just like he was an assistant coach at the Warriors. When you got Steph, you got KD, you got Klay Thompson, you got Draymond Green. You don't need to coach that.
Right.
That's why Alvin Gentry got a lot of recognition because, he coached the Warriors. They were such a great they didn't need to be coached. They really didn't.
Indeed. And the thing about it is there's a great coach calling games right now that I think would be a great fit because he built Golden State team. That? Mark Jackson.
Oh, yeah. He'd be good for our type of situation.
Yeah. I mean, he built the Golden State situation. They fired him, and then they brought in Steve Kerr, who got the fruits of Mark Jackson's labor. He
did because, again, like I talked about before, I really don't like Steve Kerr as a coach either. I don't think he's that good of a coach.
He's supposed to.
He was barely a good player. He could shoot threes. That was about it.
Yeah. He was on great teams that helped him out.
Exactly. So he coaches great teams. He was on 8 great teams. I don't see it.
Side note, if you hear me huffing and puffing in microphones because I ate too much at your house.
Not my fault.
Your wife had to cook. I had to eat. Can't disrespect.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on to the next topic. What you got for us?
It's the Super Duper Bowl, man.
Oh, man.
I tell you what about the Super Duper Bowl. There was a lot of talk more about the halftime show than it was a game. But I tell you what really was the best part of the game was Demi Lovato singing the national anthem. She crushed it.
She killed that.
She crushed it.
That was actually amazing.
Yeah. Yolanda Adams doing American Beautiful was great, too.
Yeah.
And actually, she went first, and I thought, man, there's no way Demi can, I'd hate to have to follow that. And she crushed it.
Oh, she killed it. I think that was the first time in a long time that I actually watched somebody sing the national anthem. Because every time you hear somebody, it's always they got to do something different to it. They got to make it more poppy. They got to do Christina Aguilera type runs where it's like, oh, and junk like that.
Well, you can't use Christina Aguilera on there because she forgets the words.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So it's just they always try to change something, but
yeah, they try to make it their own. It's just do the song the way it is because it's beautiful. Look, she did it, and I got chills.
Yeah, she killed it. That was the first time in a while I've seen somebody actually kill it.
And of course, the halftime show was what it was. Some of the commercials were okay. There wasn't any commercials that stuck out like back in the day, the Budweiser frogs and the stuff like that.
I think the only 2 commercials that because like I told you, I didn't really watch Super Bowl, wasn't that interested. But I think the only 2 commercials I saw were the one with Post Malone when he went into the gas station, and I think it was maybe a Bud Light commercial, and they had the seltzer as well.
I didn't see it.
It was a hilarious commercial. And then I saw the one with your boy that sang Horses in the Back, whatever the heck that.
Oh, yeah, him and Sam, the oldest Earp brother.
Yeah, and they were dancing. That's
his mustache dancing was the best part.
Yeah, it was.
That was great.
I don't know. I think it was that, or I think the end really got it with Billy Ray Cyrus saying, "I ain't dancing next." That was actually pretty funny. I can't lie.
Yeah, the game in itself too. It actually turned out to be a pretty decent game. I watched it.
Yeah, let's talk about that junk.
I was at a Super Bowl party, so I was going to watch it. If I was sitting at home, I wouldn't have watched it. I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
It was like we said the last couple of weeks. It was a Super Bowl that to me was the most boring game to want to watch, and it ended up turning out to be a pretty good game because it's a football game, and
it did. And I think the thing that made it exciting was the fact that arguably the best quarterback in the NFL was playing in it, and dude was making plays.
He was making plays, and of course they had a whole postseason where they were let the other team get up some points and then have to come back and make a run,
and they did. So do we need to bring up 28-3, or you think that's too soon for Kyle Shanahan?
Well, no, you can go ahead and drop that bomb. Poor Kyle Shanahan, So break it down like what we were talking about before, you and I, was, of course, the last time the Niners were in the Super Bowl, they had a lead and they blew it. The last time Shanahan was in the Super Bowl, 28-3 happened.
As an OC.
Yeah. And now he's a head coach in San Francisco, and they have a lead and blow the Super Bowl.
I just think the 49ers, they have bad luck, and so does Kyle Shanahan. It just wasn't a good combo.
I thought they were a year or two early to be in a Super Bowl, and it just fell their way this year, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, they could make it back. It's just I don't see how they're going to afford anybody else. They can be good, and they are good, but I think they got exposed a lot this year.
Yeah.
Because they're going to have a lot of the same players next year. I think Richard Sherman is probably going to retire. I can't see him coming back and playing another year.
He may play 1 or 2 more years, honestly.
Because he really didn't play well at all this year. It was the front 7 that got the job done.
I think the only way that he retires is if he gets cut.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I honestly, I don't see him cutting him unless they draft.
They're gonna draft the 49ers need, I'd say, probably wide receiver is their biggest thing that they probably need. You have Deebo Samuel. You have Emmanuel Sanders, who I think is an expiring contract, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
But you really have nobody else there. So I think they're going to draft wide receiver or they're going to draft secondary. Either one. That's where they're going to go.
I was really happy for two people to get the Super Bowl win. I was really happy for Honey Badger.
Oh yeah, it's about time he got one. Now we just need your boy Patrick Peterson.
Oh yeah,
to go to some other team that he can actually have a chance to get a Super Bowl on.
yeah. I mean, a few years ago you would say, man, why didn't the guy just go to New England? Because you knew they were going to be there. But I think New England is. I think they're on a rebuilding trip.
Yeah, they're on a downward slope. They really are. You didn't think that at the beginning of the year, but once it kind of went along and you saw that Tom Brady was really, he wasn't himself. He really wasn't.
He was his self to those of us who thought he was overhyped all of his career.
That is true. But I know he was overhyped. I watched him and watched all of his overhypeness, but I just think this year he even went more downhill than normal.
Yeah. Well, and all that nonsense BS what they said all his career is he doesn't have any receivers. Well, his top receiver and Gronk retires, and you can see he's not a great quarterback of saying that you can use the term, well, he doesn't have any help. No. He has a Hall of Fame tight end, Hall of Fame receivers for over the years, Hall of Fame defensive teams. Anyway, I'm getting on my Tom Brady tangent. We'll get off of it. Back to the Super Duper Bowl.
Who was Drew Brees' weapons? I'm sorry. I don't remember.
A 7th round Marcus Colston?
He had about 3, and the most consistent ones were Thomas, Graham, and Colston.
Right.
And you saw how good Graham was when he went elsewhere.
You saw how good Moore was, how Snead was, Joe Horn. The list goes on. Anybody
I'm trying
left?
to think who else. Meacham,
who
Stallworth.
came back. Well, Stallworth wasn't even there because he got cut the year.
Stallworth got a train wreck.
Yeah, he got cut or traded 1 of the 2 when Drew got there, when Sean got there actually.
Yeah.
But the Super Bowl ended up being a good game because it was a good football game. It still didn't feel like a Super Bowl.
It really didn't.
It didn't even feel like a playoff game.
I just, like we talked about last week, I just don't think who was there. I think, like I said, I don't think the 49ers really deserved to be there.
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs did, definitely. They kind of dominated the postseason and most of the season as long as Mahomes was playing. I just don't think the 49ers meant to be there.
No, and I forgot what I was going to say. It's all good. It's 49ers. Who cares?
True that. Fact of the matter is, Chiefs won 31-20. I can't even remember what I think we predicted like 1 point off of each's predictions. I think I predicted 24-20 and you predicted 24-21, I think.
Yeah, somewhere up in there.
Wow. It was somewhere like that.
We'll have to listen to our own podcast to find out.
It almost happened, but then your boy Damian Williams had to go off for like 38-yard run.
Yeah.
And get a touchdown and mess my prediction
I think it was like a 60-yard run.
No. It was like 38 yards. It wasn't that far.
It just looked like it was forever. I know the other 2 things I was going to say. The other person I'm happy for is Andy Reid.
Oh, yeah. He needed one. He's been such a great coach for so long, coaching so many great teams, and he's never been able to close one, and he finally got himself one.
He would have won the one in Philadelphia against New England if T.O. wouldn't have torn that team away.
Exactly.
Apart, not away.
Yeah. I understand.
And he actually is getting, talks of being one of the greatest ever now. Which is huge. He
needs to be because
he has a good coaching tree now too.
Every team he's gone to has been successful, not to the fact of they won a bunch of Super Bowls, but how many teams did he coach to where they had a losing season?
He's a great coach, man.
They really didn't have many losing seasons on any of the teams he coached.
No. Hey, listen, when he took over in Kansas City, they were not a good team.
Not at all. But they brought it together. Reed brought it together, and they got themselves a Super Bowl.
Think about it.
50 years, baby. 50 years.
Think about it. He brought in Alex Smith and turned Alex Smith into a 4,000-yard passer.
Exactly.
That's huge.
Yeah, because, when did he do that in his career? Never?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, exactly.
No, because he was the first guy before Kirk Cousins that you said couldn't throw the ball more than 10 yards.
And to be honest, he was.
Yeah.
In the system that he was in and type of quarterback he was being, he didn't. He was a glorified game manager is all he was. Kind of like I compare to I compare Alex Smith to Jimmy G all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Except
Absolutely.
Jimmy G makes more mistakes.
Yeah. The other thing about the Super Bowl I was going to say is it felt like a regular season game. And when I say that, not like a Sunday night football game, which has been the precedent of football the last 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Not even Monday night football game, which used to be the biggest games of the week.
Oh, yeah.
But more like a Thursday night game. And like, all right, we get to start football. That's about all it was.
And to be honest, I really think they need to start, and this could be just me. And as a football fan, you say, especially as a fantasy football player, you say, oh, you got football on Thursday, and then you got football on Sunday, you got football Sunday night, Monday, and then at some points you got football on Thursday, and then Saturday, and then Sunday, and then Monday. It's like you never really have to look forward to football. It's like you got Monday, and then a couple days later, you're like, oh, Thursday they're playing again. I think at some point you got to say people aren't really looking forward to football because they got it all the time.
Some people,
Which I love football, but some people it's just like it's getting to be too much.
Yeah.
During the week, some people you just want to look forward to football. If you got it all the time, you can't look forward to it.
That's true. I mean, you know how much I love college football. But when you have the middle of the week,
that's the thing.
You have the middle of the week games there, and it's a bunch of teams that like.
You don't even
I'm
know
glad
who
they're
they
getting TV time.
Yeah.
But it's like I'm not interested in this game at all. It's like
Here's the deal.
San Diego State against like
And here's why
UCF.
Here's why you love college football, though. What's college football game day? What is it?
Saturday.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not Sunday. It's not Thursday. It's not Monday.
Yeah.
Because there's no like, oh, the big team's playing on Thursday, so you got to pay attention to this game, which obviously that could be considered depending on who's playing. But Saturday's game day for college football.
You know it.
You're looking forward to it. It's Saturday game day. You have the big game at night. That's what you look forward to. That big game.
Or all day long, really.
Yeah, really.
I mean, what really starts off is college game day.
Yeah,
Gets you hyped.
exactly. But with football, it's like with NFL football, it's like you got Thursday, you watch the game, and then Christmas time comes around. You got some games on Saturdays, and then you got game on Sunday and Sunday night, and then Monday night, and then it's like you never really get to look forward to it and get hyped for it, and then you look forward to it all week, and then you're like, just like college football. After Saturday, it's like, all right, now I got till Saturday to look forward to it, and then you can watch college football all day and get hyped.
That's right. So moving on from the Super Duper Bowl and the NFL, really quickly too, just give another commercial shout out to our friends at Nova Nutrition and Nolan Sports. Go hit them up. National Signing Day was also this week. Now, this National Signing Day.
Blah.
Yeah, absolutely blah. This National Signing Day, which was the original.
And they tried to make it
They tried to
non-blah, but it was just the way they were going about it was just so stupid.
Well, the early signing is really taking so much precedence.
It is because everybody signs on early signing day.
Yeah.
And then the only ones that don't sign on early signing day, for the most part, you already know where they're going.
Yeah, and really that the real National Signing Day turns into the kids wanting to have the biggest spotlight by themselves.
Exactly, like we were looking at Jordan Birch, for instance.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. We were looking and hoping he'd come to LSU, but
We were, but at the same time, you knew he was going to South Carolina. There was really, he took a unofficial visit here, but you knew he was going to South Carolina. And then they wanted to generate a storyline of, oh, he didn't actually sign the letter of intent. He's not actually going there yet, and then blah, blah, blah. And then, all of a sudden, the next day, he signs the letter of intent, and he's going to South Carolina.
yeah, he was borderline. It turned into borderline Zachary Evans, and
Which, Lord knows what the heck's going to happen with that kid.
Who knows? I think he's going to end up playing with Georgia, but God bless Georgia for that because they're having to put up with a headache.
Good luck.
I just call it when you keep giving these guys this super media attention, man, you just create a monster, and it's
That's the problem nowadays. It's all about media. It's all about showing off to the camera and to the crowd, and it's less about playing it for the love of the game and more about just being a show off.
Absolutely.
And that's really all it is, unfortunately, because back in the day, I'd say even in the 90s and 2000s, you didn't have even half of what is happening today with all the attention that high school players are getting, middle school players are getting.
Jeez, yeah.
You didn't even have half of what's going on back then that you do today. So it was less about, oh, I'm playing for the cameras, and more about, I'm playing because I love the game, which is what you should play for. Obviously, it's entertainment and you got money involved, blah, blah, blah. It's a business. But you play because you love the game.
Right.
And that's what you should play for. But kids nowadays, man, they're so worried about their name in the spotlight and getting their way and just being famous. That's all they're worried about, unfortunately.
Well, look, even when I was in high school, a little bit before you, a couple years,
Couple years.
Yeah.
About 27.
If there was a good football player, because football is, I know they say all the time, Texas, football is life. Well, Louisiana, it is too. Honestly, it really is a part of life. When I was in high school, if you had football stars, dude, they were never in class.
Yeah.
There were rumors that they didn't even take their ACTs.
I mean, heck, when I was in school, kids were getting passed that were football stars.
Yeah.
They never went to class. They were given D's and C's just to get them by, and they never went to class.
That's okay. They could have gone to Florida State and not even have to read.
Right.
But I mean, just saying in that, I mean, even back then when there wasn't all this media attention and stuff, and you had all this, you create a bigger monster by putting all the spotlight, and you borderline give an opportunity for an Antonio Brown situation or somewhere in that effect. Maybe not to that magnitude, but
yeah. Which, did you see his latest stuff?
Yeah,
he sounds like, what's your boy? What's your boy with the Kool-Aid?
I have no idea.
God, what's his name? The cult leader that made everybody drink the Kool-Aid. Sounds like he got a hold of Antonio Brown.
Yeah. I can't believe you. Waco, Texas, man. Let's just leave it at that.
Yeah, that.
Yeah.
But it sounds
we'll
like
go with Waco.
He sounded like he got a hold of Antonio Brown, and Antonio Brown, quote unquote, seeing the light.
That might not even be the right one, but that makes me think of it. Golly, man. I can't believe you said something wrong with you, dude.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Even when I'm wrong, I'm
right.
still right.
That's right. Moving on. So, with football being over, we're going to be getting into its mock draft season. So, you're going to be seeing a lot of those. We're going to give our own mock drafts, and then we'll interchange them. And also,
we'll interchange them, and we might go over a mock draft or two, maybe see who going where and blah, 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 and analyze it and stuff like that.
Yeah, we'll probably go, when we give our mock drafts, we'll go with who we think should go, not
because
where they're actually going to go.
Like we tell y'all, draft is pretty much our Super Bowl.
Yes.
For
Christmas.
people, the Super Bowl is their Super Bowl. Our Super Bowl, our favorite time of football year, is the NFL draft. That's what we look forward to.
All day.
Because it's
3 days.
That is the storyline. You got the trades that are happening. You got the person that got picked 20 spots higher than they were supposed to go, and then you got the other player that got picked 2 rounds later than they were supposed to go. It's like it's heaven.
Yes. It's drama, and you're thinking, and then of course you always get all of these quarterbacks in the first round. You're like, dude, you couldn't.
And they're all
you barely
trash.
started for the horrible college that you played for.
Dude, don't talk about Jordan Love like that.
Hey, you knew where I was going.
Dang, wrecked.
Oh boy. Anyway, we'll break him down a lot when we're talking about the draft, and yeah, he's going to go in the first round. It's just because they talk him up because he's a quarterback, and that's the way it always is. Quarterbacks get drafted high in the draft in the first round for no reason whatsoever.
Pretty much. And
Trubisky.
Even Trubisky made more sense than him because Trubisky was actually halfway decent in college, but Jordan Love wasn't even that good at Utah State.
Jordan Love going in the first round reminds me of the year of Christian Ponder and that other quarterback. Not Jake Locker at 10 to Tennessee, the one who went. Christian Ponder and the other cat that got drafted way early. It was Minnesota and somebody else drafted a quarterback.
That wasn't the year of Brady Quinn, was it?
I don't know if it was or not. I'd have to look back at it and see.
Oh, I can't remember. But yeah, that's about what that reminds me of. And even worse, because again, Christian Ponder came from, was it Florida State, correct?
Yeah, I think so, man. That
Jordan Love plays Utah State.
I know.
Utah State.
They crush it over there.
And he didn't even do good.
Yeah, especially this year.
And you saw what happened when he played against LSU?
That's understandable.
Got smacked.
That's understandable. He's supposed
Not
to.
at the beginning of the year, though.
Yeah.
He played against the defense that looked lost and
The-
still got smacked.
The injured lost defense.
And he still got smacked. So, him being in the first round, they can say, oh, he's such an NFL-ready quarterback. Doesn't make a lick of sense. It's like saying Jameis Winston was NFL-ready.
Yeah, we see how that worked out, 30 for 30.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of 30 for 30, did you watch the Mike Vick one?
No, I didn't, actually.
I watched.
Was it good?
I watched it. It was a 2-part series, and each part was like an hour and a half, 2 hours. I watched the first one a week or so ago when it first came out. The second part of it came out last night, and unfortunately, it wasn't that it was boring. I was just wore out and I fell asleep. But everything about it, I was like glued to the TV.
Wow.
Except for I couldn't help but fall asleep last night.
Yeah.
Not.
I might have to go check that out.
It's legit, dude. It breaks down a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
The other thing outside of it is getting close to March. March Madness is coming up. We'll probably fill out some
cover
brackets.
a little bit of that, but
We'll
probably do brackets. Probably cover a little bit of LSU basketball as well, obviously.
LSU has a good chance to make it to the tournament as long as they don't get caught up in trap games like they did this past week against Vanderbilt.
And then y'all can let us know, because we don't know how it really works in NCAA basketball, but it sounds like your boy Sharif O'Neal possibly might transfer to LSU. So if he does transfer, can he play this year? Or is he eligible, or does he have to wait until next year to play for the team?
Looking for that too, I haven't been able to find anything. So I don't know.
So y'all let us know. Whoever knows, if y'all are listening, let us know what y'all think about that.
Yeah.
Well, what's the deal with that?
Absolutely. Before we go on to our top 10 for this week, which is going to be an amazing one, by the way.
And this is a surprise for me because I don't know what he's about to say.
Well, you know how I was
I do know what he's about to say, but I don't know all of the
depth.
details about what he's about to talk about.
Well, the Super Bowl just happened, and, nowadays that means football's over because the NFL is weird and we moved the Pro Bowl to before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Bring that back. And not only bring that back to when it's supposed to be, but bring back the quarterback challenge. Don't be weird. Just do it.
Just bring back the regular skills challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun to watch. Just bring it back.
Yeah.
That's all I ask. We talked about this last week in depth. We'll just say it.
Yeah.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. I want to see the quarterback challenge so bad.
Yeah, who can throw it the farthest?
Who can
Everybody can say, oh, Patty Mahomes. Oh, Lamar Jackson.
Who can hit the moving targets?
Drew Brees.
Right. Drew might not be able to do the longest pass, but he can hit those moving targets better than anybody. I guarantee that.
Oh, yeah.
But saying that, it's a sad time because football's over. But wait.
There's more.
There's more. There's more football. The XFL.
Oh, man. Brand new.
The XFL starts this weekend.
Brand spanking new.
I will say this. It's the XFL. Vince McMahon, thank you for letting us have football more. And you say, when you get to listen to some of these names I'm going to list in a minute, you're going to be like, well, I don't know if I want to watch that. But it's football. Thank you, Vince McMahon, for giving us football.
Appreciate you, brother.
This football season is going to go on. They have 8 teams. It's going to go on until. So the draft is the 23rd, 24th, and 25th, and the championship for XFL is the 26th. So you have the draft, Christmas, what? And then you have
New Year's.
Then you have the XFL Super Bowl, whatever they want to call it. The
New Year's.
King of the Ring, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
Royal Rumble, something. I don't know. WrestleMania. But so you just and the other great part about that is
Isn't WrestleMania around that time?
it could be.
I don't follow wrestling that much, but
Mike, don't jump all over us. Joey, don't jump all over us. I can't remember when it is. But so right after that, they're actually being a feeder league into the NFL. So it's going to be right after the draft. So all these guys will be eligible to jump into free agency, which is huge.
Exactly. Which it'll be after the draft, so it'll be most likely during right after the draft, getting into training camps and stuff like that. So they'll probably get into the practice squads and then get signed through there. But yeah. It'll basically be just one big tryout for the NFL.
Yeah, and listen, they're gonna have some changes in the league too. If you haven't read up on it, read up on it. Some of the stuff's exciting. It's gonna be fun. I was hoping to see something like, have a finishing move, a Stone Cold Stunner, RKO, leg drop, frog splash off the top rope, something. But they're actually doing great things. So,
this hitting arena football, you're going to have to chill.
Well, I mean, with it being from the WWE, with Vince McMahon, I was expecting to be like Blitz, NFL Blitz or something.
Yeah, arena football.
That would be great.
Was Blitz.
You jump up and leg drop on the guy who's already down. What?
I'm about it.
Kill it.
Let's
Do it.
Get this.
But they're not going to have that. But some of the rules, one of them that stuck out most to me is that there won't be any extra points. Now, you still will have a kicker to kick regular field goals for 3 points, from 40 yards or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you score a touchdown, there's no extra points. There's different plays. There's 3 different plays. One of them you can get for 1 extra point. One of them you can get for 2 extra points. And one of them you get for 3 extra points. So they don't believe they'll have much overtime. And they actually have overtime rules, which is cool too. But
interesting.
Jumping off into it, because I want to spend more time on our top 10 because it's fun.
Yeah.
And it's awesome and it's great.
Exactly.
But the XFL teams, if you're interested in watching what you should be, it's football. These are your teams. Let me get this up. I didn't bring my glasses.
Go on there. You need me to read it?
No, man. I got this. Let me just focus my eyes. You got the Dallas Renegades.
Okay.
The DC Defenders.
Okay.
The Houston Roughnecks.
How you doing?
How you doing? There you go. Now you catching up. Los Angeles Wildcats.
How you doing?
The New York Guardians.
How you doing?
The Seattle Dragons.
How you doing?
St. Louis Battlehawks. Yeah, Battlehawks.
All right, how you doing?
And the Tampa Bay Vipers.
How you doing?
And so, if you were wondering, why would I want to watch this? Just give you some of the notable names of people, the rosters, and this is the part you didn't know.
Yeah, I know. This is what I'm anxious about to see what you're about to tell me.
Some of the names that are notable, I looked at all the rosters, and there were actually some more signings afterwards after I wrote this, and I was looking for.
Give me what teams they're on too there, buddy.
Yeah. So here, going on Dallas, for the Dallas team, you have Jazz Ferguson.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember him. He was a receiver at LSU, transferred to Northwestern State.
Yeah, I do.
Landry Jones, quarterback at Oklahoma.
Who they talk about is going to be the face of the XFL, but we'll see.
Not when you see some of these other names, especially the ones that they just signed that I missed out on. Cameron Artis-Payne, running back from Auburn.
I'm surprised he's not.
Who also played for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, for a long dang time.
Mm-hmm. Haloti Kahaha.
Really?
Yes. All in Dallas.
Well, that's all I can say is I'm glad I don't have to watch him anymore in flipping black and gold.
Right. Well, he was great when he wasn't injured.
Which was always.
All the time. For Houston, Sammy Coates, receiver from Auburn who played for Pittsburgh.
I'm shocked that he actually didn't work out better in the NFL.
Well, he was in Pittsburgh.
But still, I would have thought that he would have worked out a little bit better because, I mean, in Pittsburgh, it was always the next man up.
He did decent.
Like starting back from Hines Ward, per se.
Mm-hmm.
You had Hines Ward left, and then Mike Wallace. And behind him was Emmanuel Sanders. Mike Wallace left, and then Emmanuel Sanders became the guy. Behind him was Antonio Brown. It was just always the next guy up. So you kind of viewed him as the next guy up, and then it just...
Well, and what happened
he never separated himself.
He separated himself a little bit the year that Martavius Bryant was suspended.
Yeah, which he was supposed to be the next guy up, and then that's when I thought Sammy Coates was actually going to take over.
And he played really good. But what happened was they went and drafted Juju.
And then he showed up.
Yeah, and that was it.
Exactly.
And they also shipped off Martavius Bryant.
Yeah.
Which they needed to. So moving on. Connor Cook, quarterback from Michigan State.
Wow, I didn't even know he could still even play football, but
yeah,
cool.
Well, he was after Kirk Cousins, so. Savion Smith.
Didn't he just get drafted?
I don't think he made the cut. And this is Savion Smith who couldn't cut it at LSU, so he got cut off the team and ended up at Bama. And he got housed there a lot.
He barely cut it there and then comes in NFL and couldn't cut it there, so he goes to XFL. Good for him.
Yep. Toby Weathersby. Really surprised that he's not in the league.
Interesting.
Connie Ely, right? Ain't that how you say his name?
Really?
Right. Yep.
This is the same guy. Hold on. Didn't he
from Missouri?
Didn't he go to the Jets for a little bit
Yeah, it seemed
and
like
kill it?
Yeah, didn't he play for Carolina for a little while?
He did. He actually killed it for a little while, so I don't know what's going on with that. He was actually killing it.
I don't know. Moving on to New York, they actually have a guy who's a receiver. I don't know if it's the guy, but his name's Joe Horn. So I don't know if it's Hollywood Joe or not, who just got
There's
arrested.
no flipping way.
So
Dude's like 50.
I don't know. I mean, it's XFL. I mean, it's WWE. I mean, Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan are still wrestling sometimes.
True.
Matt McGloin, quarterback from Penn State.
Oh,
Yeah.
I remember the name. Yeah.
Terrence Alexander, cornerback from LSU.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got you.
Garrett Brumfield, which I'm surprised he's not in the league.
Wow.
Yeah. St. Louis. And then this one's kind of funny for me, but the guys on here I actually like. Nick Fitzgerald.
I'm surprised that he is not, which after this he might, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see him playing the Taysom Hill role.
Oh, yeah, he could.
Most definitely
Yeah.
on some team in the NFL this year.
Marquette King.
What the heck happened to him?
Well, when John Gruden cut him, nobody else wanted him.
I mean, I understand he was he was the punting version of Antonio Brown.
Well, I wouldn't even put him that far. He was a showman. And
He was, but on top of being showman, the dude was a dang good punter.
Yeah.
So I don't know what happened there.
I don't either. He brought life to the punter position.
He really did, because you
Brought swag.
really don't know of any punters nowadays. Like, your Morstead, but
You know your team's
know
punter.
your team's punter. But
Unless
outside of that,
unless you're a Falcons fan or a 49ers fan.
yes, exactly. But I mean, back in the day, back in the last decade, your punters like your Shane Leckler, Brian Moorman, those couple of guys.
Right.
You knew them.
Ray Guy.
Ray. Oh my God. All right, that was the last century, not decade.
All right, so moving on.
Yeah.
Jordan Teamu. You remember him? Quarterback from Ole Miss.
Yeah.
Matt Jones, a running back from Florida.
I hope he actually works out there, because he could not find his footing in the NFL.
Well, here's a guy that'll surprise you that he's there too. Christine Michael.
He surprises me, but at the same time, he bounced around between so many teams, and you saw potential from him, but he could never take off and keep a starting job.
Yeah, his best position was backup in Seattle.
Yeah, it was.
So the DC team. Here's a guy that was highly touted last year in the draft. You and I were.
I know who you're gonna say, which makes no sense to me.
Who?
Your boy from Buffalo?
Yeah,
What's his name again?
Tyree Jackson, quarterback from Buffalo.
Yeah, you take 1 year in the NFL as a third round quarterback backup, and then you go to the XFL because why?
Well, this was the thing. He was so overly hyped because he's a quarterback in the draft.
From Buffalo, by the way.
All right. And he wasn't great at Buffalo. I mean, he was good at Buffalo. Don't get me wrong. I'm not down on the kid.
Yeah, he was a good quarterback.
I'm down on those who had him so far up there on the draft boards.
Yeah, fact.
Here's another guy that I didn't understand why he didn't work out, but he was somebody that in the draft last year was a pretty big name. Simi Cobbs, receiver from Indiana.
Ah, that is true.
Yeah, and then
He actually had a couple of stints with the Saints, didn't he?
I don't know if he did or if he didn't.
I think he actually did. He just never stuck. He would come on, and then he was back on the practice squad and cut, and then he would come back on and actually play, and then he was back on the practice squad.
What's crazy about him is they had a couple mock drafts last year, had him go in the first and second round, and they actually had the Saints draft him in the second round with their first pick.
Glad they didn't.
Yeah. Here's the name for you. Cardale Jones.
Which I think, if I'm not mistaken, I read an article on those in the XFL that could make a comeback still, and his name was one of those.
Malachi Dupree.
Who am I thinking of?
Malachi? Oh, Malachi?
No, Doral.
Yeah.
That's who I was thinking
Traven
of.
Doral. No, Malachi, I forgot who he's with, but I know
Malachi Dupree was actually...
he's with Green Bay and Buffalo.
He was the hands of LSU. Doral was the
speed.
He was the speed and the streak. They're all and Malachi Dupree was the route running hands. They could never get him the ball.
Well, that and he didn't turn it on until the last game of the season
Unfortunately,
in the bowl game. Well, he used to drive me absolutely insane. He'd be 4 or 5, 6 inches taller than a defender, and the defender would jump up because he would never jump up and use his height or his body or size. It used to frustrate the heck out of me.
Yeah.
Matt Elam. Yeah, Matt Elam.
Who used to actually be a pretty touted safety?
Yeah, for Atlanta even, wasn't he?
No, I think you're thinking of another person.
Well, Matt Elam from Florida.
I think Matt Elam played for
It was either Atlanta or Baltimore.
No, there was another Elam that used to play.
I gotcha. Well,
I think it was actually Matt Elam, but it was back in the day that one played. I think this one actually played for maybe the Jets, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, poor guy.
I'm going to have to go look that up, but I think he actually played for either the Jets or Buffalo. I can't remember which one. I think it was Jets.
Wow. Donnell Pumphrey.
Which I still don't understand how he ended up there. I don't understand why he's not on a team somewhere in the NFL being used correctly.
Yeah. Oh, well, here's another thing, too. He was overdrafted.
He was, but at the same time, he was also one of those running backs. There's one that was really overdrafted, and I don't know if you're thinking of one from the same school, but Rashad Penny.
Yeah, Rashad Penny.
He was the one that was overdrafted. Pumphrey was drafted in like the 3rd or 4th round.
Well, that makes more sense, then.
Penny was the one that was overdrafted, but Pumphrey was the one that was breaking all kinds of records.
Yeah, well, Penny
He
broke
was just
first.
a little bit. He was just no.
Penny broke Marshall Faulk's records, and then Pumphrey come back and broke them.
Switch it. Yeah,
Jeez, man,
Pumphrey
come
was
on, dude.
Pumphrey was before Penny.
Jeez. Get your stats right. God. All right, Nick Brossette.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got to see him at LSU. He was a world beater.
All right. Well, we have LSU people. Don't down the LSU people too bad. We have LSU players.
I had to watch him
We
run.
have LSU players listening to us too.
Yeah, but still.
All right.
He could listen to me too. He's trash. Moving on.
Here's a guy that I thought he had a lot of potential too. Scooby Wright.
Yeah, that did. I think he more so fell because of injury. Because I know at the end of his Arizona career, he actually got a really bad injury. So I think that was the problem with him. But, yeah, I agree. I saw a lot of potential in him. I thought he was going to be a really great player.
Yeah, a couple of drafts where I was in, he was picked. Sam Montgomery.
What?
Yeah.
He's still in the league?
Well, no. He's in the XFL.
I mean, you know what I mean, though. How long has he been out of college?
I don't know, dude. It's been forever.
Markevius Mingo. What year was that? That was what?
I don't know.
Like
dude. Forever goes.
10?
I don't know.
09, something like that?
That's too much. I don't have enough Nespresso.
True.
Los Angeles team. Here's a young feller. Nick Novak. Kicker. I know you know that name. Homeboy's been I think he started. I think his rookie year.
57-year-old Nick Novak.
Yeah, I think he was around with Gary Anderson, Morton Anderson.
I'm pretty sure he had a go around with Martin Gramatica at one point, if I'm not mistaken.
That's probably true. All right, Harlan Miller from Southeastern.
Oh wow,
Yep.
yeah. I hope he does well because I know he was kind of highly touted because I know they had I don't know when he actually got drafted, but they had like a second round grade on him.
Yeah, and I
He
think
he did not work though.
I think he went in the 4th round. Did he get drafted by Atlanta too?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
They saw what they had in Robert Alford, so they thought they would get that again.
Elijah Hood.
Elijah Hood.
Yep.
Wow.
North Carolina and then the Jets.
Yeah.
He actually picked you up some fantasy points a couple years ago.
Few.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Sean Oakman. Remember him?
My God. You talking about the machine?
The machine from Baylor.
6'9", 10,
12
300 pound
like
Sean
Goliath.
Oakman.
Yeah.
Ran like a girl.
Yes.
I thought I never watched him, but I just saw he put up so many stats, and I saw his physique. I was like, man, this dude's a beast. And I watched him play. He's running around there. The only thing that's flailing when he runs is his hands. He doesn't even move his arms. So he looks like Napoleon Dynamite running.
Those are not spirit fingers.
Jazz
These
hands.
are spirit fingers.
Jazz hands.
Anthony the Freak Johnson. You remember him from LSU?
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
They actually, he played on the and he was the number 1 recruit at defensive tackle.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's actually going to be playing linebacker in the XFL.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be outside or inside, but he's playing linebacker.
He probably did that Joe Thomas thing and lost a ton of weight.
He could have. All right, Seattle. Trey Williams, A&M running back. That's really surprising.
Dude, that makes no sense because he was such a beast at A&M.
Yep.
And he did so much, and I really wanted the Saints to draft him. That makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I wanted.
But hey, he went to Cincinnati, so that's why.
And Cincinnati also had like 47 running backs on the roster instead of drafting anybody else to help that team out.
Yeah, and then they could barely get Joe Mixon going.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how they went.
Here's another guy from Southeastern, Marco Myers, cornerback.
Don't know that name.
I don't either, but he's from Southeastern.
Wow, interesting.
Yeah. Colin Jeter, tight end from LSU. That's all in Seattle, bud.
Best name in freaking.
Where's my other part of the list? It disappeared.
Best name you mentioned so far.
I have another team somewhere.
Are
Hold
you
on.
sure that was 8?
No, that's not 8 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's another team. Oh, here it is.
Oh my gosh.
All my notes. All right.
This is all in real time, people.
Yeah, this is the last team here. Tampa Bay. Quentin Flowers, the quarterback from UCF. I'm sorry, USF, South Florida.
Oh wow. Yeah.
And he's going to be playing quarterback / running back.
Okay. That's
Right.
good.
Yeah. And the reason why he's going to be playing / running back is because they have another quarterback named Aaron Murray.
Really?
Yep.
Oh wow. That's interesting.
They have a receiver that you know.
Who?
Centavious Jones. Good grief.
Really?
Yeah. Played for the Saints.
My boy Centavious.
Yeah, I couldn't say his name there for some reason, man. Jalen Collins from LSU.
The heck happened to him?
He's old.
It's not that old.
He was, same draft class as Jalen Mills. Think about that.
Yeah, but Jalen Mills is still playing though.
Yeah, and Jalen Collins got drafted by, or signed, one or two by Atlanta.
Yeah, that's true.
And the last name that I found notable until I looked at other stuff, and I'm not going to go into the other stuff on there, C.C. Jefferson, defensive end from Florida.
Yeah.
I don't even know if he got drafted, or if he played in the league, but I remember him at Florida wreaking havoc. So, anything you want to add prior to us going to the amazing top 10?
So I don't think I have anything to add, but let's just go ahead and jump into it.
And when we're getting to jumping into the top 10 there, just want to let you know this is the top 10 quarterbacks of all time for us. And NFL. And just to let you know on my list, I didn't go by like stats, Super Bowl wins. I went by who my top 10 is.
Same.
Hey, and Alan, thanks for throwing out your top 10 on the Facebook. Appreciated that, man.
Appreciate it. It was a good list.
Yeah.
We enjoyed it. It was a little bit, it was different, but it was good. I like the top 10 list.
That was his top 10.
Yeah, it was for sure. It was good.
Listen, everything's debatable when it's top 10.
Oh, it's all debatable because it's your own top 10. It's an opinion.
Yeah.
It's not really fact. It's opinion.
Absolutely. And this is our top 10. We didn't see each other's list, just like we never see each other's list on top 10.
Exactly. Let me get my spectacles on.
Yeah. Let me rub my eyes so I could see.
All right. So we starting back from 10 there, buddy.
Absolutely.
All right. Who's your 10?
My 10 is Tom Brady.
Ooh.
Yeah. All the way down to 10.
Watch it.
Fight me.
So explain.
He's at 10 because you know that old saying of system quarterback. And I don't care what anybody has to say about it. And I understand is, yes, you need the quarterback to be in the right system for them to excel.
Yes.
But this is a guy that when he got injured,
how many quarterbacks came in and still had winning records?
Yeah. Jimmy G, Jacoby Brissett, Matt Castle brought him to 11-5.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm just going with that. And I'm going with he is with the greatest coach of all time.
Bill Belichick.
Yeah. Did I put him number one? I think I did.
I think you did.
Yeah.
Greatest coach of, in my opinion, pretty much, unless you can counteract that, but in my opinion, greatest coach of any sport.
Only two close to that would be John Wooden and
yeah, agreed.
UConn's women's coach.
Agreed.
Yeah. Who's your 10, sir?
My 10 is Russell Wilson.
Look out, bro.
Reason being, Russell Wilson has done a lot more with a lot less than everybody else. Can you go back and name some of the great wide receivers he's had?
Not an Aaron.
Can you go back and name some of the great tight ends he's had?
Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, anyways. So can you go back and name some of the great offensive linemen he's had,
Just a center.
which got traded?
Right.
But the only person you can really name, you can say Doug Baldwin, but the only real threat on the offense you can really name that he's ever really had was Beast Mode.
I was about to say beast mode. Skittles.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Other than that, Russell Wilson has had nobody and has had to basically run for his life, which, yeah, sometimes that's a part of his game, but most of the time it's because he has to run for his life in the backfield. Creates all kinds of plays with his legs and still manages to make all the throws and has led his team to multiple playoffs. And how many Super Bowls have they been to? 1 or 2?
2.
2.
Yeah. Remember, run a dang ball. They lost.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So that's why Russell Wilson is my number 10.
Yeah, and he probably would have been higher up on your list if it wouldn't have been the way that he told everybody how he got his new contract, laying in the bed weirdly and awkward.
Oddball.
Just everything, trying to talk sexy and stuff. It was kind of weird. So anyway,
It was. All right, number 9.
that's you, sir.
I'm going to hit you with when I really started first,
Go ahead.
I guess, paying attention to football a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
When I was really young.
You say Bobby Hebert?
No. Not on your life, buddy. I'm sorry. But really when I started first paying attention to football, I was 4, 5, 6, and I could semi-remember it. But the one name that I first started paying attention to was Warren Moon.
I like it.
He's my number 9. Warren Moon was, in my opinion, probably one of the best, and if not the best, pure passer
Oh, yeah.
of all time.
He played until he was over. He was one of the first quarterbacks after the golden ages of, way back and when before they had face masks and whatnot, to play over after he was 40 and still put up amazing numbers.
He did, and it was just every year and I think it was just for the fact of, obviously he didn't really do much in the postseason because of the teams that, unfortunately, he got stuck with.
Jeez.
And I feel like it's kind of like a Dan Marino type of situation or something like that, to where he was such a great quarterback and he probably would have gotten a lot more recognition on another team, but he was stuck with what he had.
Yeah, and I watched that game where they blew it against Buffalo. Man,
Yeah.
that one sucked.
It did. But, yeah, Warren Moon, one of the better pure passers of all time. That's who's going to be my number 9.
I got you. My number 9 is a 9A and 9B. Yes, I did that.
So do you have 11 on your top 10?
No, I have 10 with a 9A and 9B.
Oh, so your next is going to... You just got so offended.
So my number 9A is why.
So is next your number 7?
No, this is the only one that I have A and B on.
Okay, go ahead.
I also have an 8. Okay, but my 9.
So you do have 11 people. That's cheating.
No, I have 9A and 9B. It's not 11. All right, so my 9A is Y.A. Tittle.
Okay.
And my 9B is I can't even say it now. Slinging Sammy Baughan.
Aw, snap. My boy slinging.
And I know a lot of y'all youngsters saw a lot of their playing time, but these cats ruled their day.
They did. They really did.
So,
And I know you probably really can't tell people much about them because they're a little bit before our time.
yeah, just a tad bit. Y.A. played at LSU too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Back in World War II.
And that's all I have to say about that. So my number 8 is Stevie Young.
Ooh.
Oh,
Interesting.
Interesting. The only reason why he's that low is because the teams that he was on.
I'm actually not going to lie to you. He's not in my top 10.
Russell's not in my top 10, so it's okay.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But Steve's not in my top 10.
Yeah. A lot of people would be aggravated at that, but he's in my top 10.
Probably so. But I don't care.
That's right. Yeah, that dude
My
had
top 10.
that's right. He had a lot of gall to be able to sit behind another Hall of Famer and then come back in and still claim his fame to Hall of Fame. Give it to him.
Yeah, and then people are trying to bash Miles Brennan for doing the same.
Get off it.
Oh, they need to get a transfer. Get out my face. I just want to throw that on a side note.
Get off of it.
Anybody that wants to say about Miles Brennan, my boy's going to go out. He's going to throw for 6,000 yards, 60 touchdowns. Get on him.
Ain't happening, but keep going.
All right.
You're number 8, sir.
My number 8 is your number 10. Tom.
Not pretty, Tom.
Tom Brady. Big forehead Tom.
TB12.
Yes. I'll put him up there simply because even though he is a system quarterback, even though we know he's overrated, and most people will put him at number 1.
GOAT.
Which is why I will put him at number 8.
Yeah.
He was still a great quarterback. He still did a lot of great things at the New England Patriots with less than some quarterbacks. Not all, not most, but some. But I'll still say he's a great quarterback.
Absolutely. That was your number 8?
Yes, that's my number 8.
There's your number 7. Lucky number 7.
My number 7, and I'll actually talk a little bit about him.
Okay.
Because I know a little bit about him. Not too much, but
a little bit.
He's year 9B. My boy Slingin' Sammy.
Slingin' Sammy.
Slingin' Sammy, and I don't know if you've seen some stuff on him, was basically the Drew Brees before Drew Brees. How you saw Drew Brees hit moving targets and stuff like that. That was Sammy Ball before Drew Brees. That was Drew Brees back in the day.
Yeah.
He used to, I think I saw a video of him where they had like a moving plate or something, and he hit it just perfectly, just moving. Yeah. It was awesome on the run. I think from what I saw back in the day, a good game was 100 yards. That was a solid game.
Right.
And in his rookie season, in the NFL championship game, he threw for 335 yards in an era where 100 yards was a good game.
Yeah, they didn't throw the ball back then. Yeah,
and he also
the forward pass wasn't really
also
much
his accuracy
was deadly.
Second best accuracy in his time was around 46%. And he kind of shattered all of them with a good 70% accuracy at that time.
Yeah. So
for the sake of how you said they dominated their time, he absolutely annihilated his time. Because actually, I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was also on defense and maybe led the team or the league in interceptions. And also, I think he led the league in punting average as well. So the dude, on top of being top 10 quarterback of all time, was probably a top 10 player of all time.
Absolutely. It's like Jim Thorpe.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That was your 7?
That was my 7.
My 7 is Warren Moon.
Oh, yeah.
And what's crazy is Warren probably would have been higher than there, but NFL was stupid back then, didn't want a black quarterback.
That is true.
And he went to Canada and just he just won Grey Cups left and right.
Yeah, annihilated there.
So imagine if you had him in all of his prime at that point in NFL.
I know.
He would be even
That's
higher.
why I'm saying I think if he was on a better team in a better situation, I don't see why he wouldn't be considered maybe not the greatest, but I'd say at least a top 5 of all time.
Absolutely.
Easily.
Absolutely. And he could have been the greatest. Who knows?
He could have been.
You don't know because we were robbed at the beginning of his career.
Yeah.
And we couldn't even watch Canadian football back then.
True.
Moving on to my number 6.
What we got?
Danny Boy, Dan Marino. Dan Marino.
You looking at my list?
He's your number 6?
Yeah.
Oh, we'll talk about him together then.
All right, then.
All right, so Danny Boy had all of the records with a shorter season than Drew Brees has.
And I'm not going to lie. I really want to put him a lot higher on this list. I really want to put him at like number 4 or 3.
Yeah. I just couldn't put him over some of the people I have him over.
I couldn't either, but just to watch Dan Marino, I never really, obviously he was before my time to watch.
Jeez,
but the highlights of, yeah, kind of. But the highlights of the games I was able to watch, the throws he made, the plays he made, I mean, could be wrong, but he kind of personified what it meant to be a gunslinger.
Yeah, he was the one that they really started using as a metrics for throwing the ball for people going into the combine. Like, that's who they modeled it after.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, he was. You say Brett Favre was the all-time gunslinger. Dan Marino was the gunslinger that didn't make many mistakes.
Yeah.
The interception to touchdown ratio was off the charts every year, and he was still considered a gunslinger because he was just. I mean, the plays he made were just unreal. The throws he made were flipping.
Yeah.
They were crazy.
I think what hindered him, too, is even though Don Shula is one of the greatest coaches of all time, and you saw where we both had him on our list.
Yeah.
Don Shula had coached for a long time before that. The reason why he had the all-time winningest coach in the NFL was because he coached forever. And I think if Dan would have had another offensive-type coach sooner in his career,
Yeah, it would have helped him so much more.
it would have helped him a lot. And, listen, Shula coached way back with Johnny Unitas. So
Yeah.
he was there a little long.
Yeah.
So you can go to your number 5 unless you want to say more about Danny Boy.
No, I think that's about it for Danny Boy.
You got any more of that gum, Ace? That's none of your business, and I ask you to stay out of my personal business.
So number 5, Johnny U.
Johnny U.
I think Johnny U, and obviously, again, before my time, but I think Johnny U was kind of the start
Hold
of,
up. It's before my time, too.
obviously, but you were still a little bit closer to his time than I was, buddy.
Jeez.
I think Johnny U was the start of the cold-blooded quarterback.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, he was the start of. He was Mr. Clutch.
Mr.
He really kind of started the whole clutch situations. When it's the end of the game, you put it in Johnny U's hands. He's taking you to the promised land.
Promised land.
So what's your number 5?
My number 5 is 1, 2, 3, Brett Favre.
Oh, snap.
Oh, man. The gunslinger himself outside of Dan.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. I love Brett, but I don't have him in my top 10.
Heresy. Blasphemy.
I don't.
We just got an email.
Pretty much.
But he's at my number 5.
I got you.
Got all the MVPs that he got. He tore the league up. He made football fun to watch as a quarterback, too. And he has a lot of great records.
To be honest, I kind of want to just take Tom Brady out from my number 8 and just put Brett Favre there.
Hey, I'd have no problem with that.
Let's do that.
Okay.
Frick my number 8.
So
I'm going to have an 8A and 8B,
hey, Tom
such
Brady.
as somebody that's
Hey,
doing
there
their
you go.
top 10.
Tom Brady and Brett Favre. I like it, buddy.
Brett Favre going at number 8B.
Now he's got to go A.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Okay.
He's 8A.
Okay. All right. So who's picking 4 here? You or me? Or did you do your 5?
I did my 5 first. That means you get to do your 4.
Oh, my 4 is my personal all-time favorite GOAT, Drew Brees. Drew's just the man.
Yeah.
And you may say, well, you're from Louisiana. He plays for the Saints, and you have people above him. I'll tell you why when I tell you those names. But Drew is my favorite quarterback. He's most disrespected as looking at the top.
Agreed.
He's breaking all the records. And if he comes back, he's going to break more records.
Agreed. 100%.
And it's a total sham that he's never been the MVP of the league.
Oh, my God. How many 5,000-yard seasons does he need to have before he gets an MVP?
And then when you have people like Will Kane saying, well, his win record, his defense has nothing to do with him being a great quarterback.
Yeah. That's the problem with everybody nowadays. They base people's performances off of team-based records.
Right. Well, and when you're basing somebody's personal, you have to go off their personal. You can't go off their team.
Yeah, exactly. So my number 4 is another one that was way before our time, but he's probably he's one of the first to be one of the greatest. Your boy Otto
Graham.
Otto Graham.
I was really surprised you had him over Johnny U.
Yeah, it was a toss up, but I remember playing Madden. I think that's where it kind of came from. But I played Madden, and you could get the legend cards back in the day of 03 and 04 and junk like that, and you could get legend cards, and Otto Graham was the one that I always got, and I got to play with him. So it was. I think that's just. Yeah, I know what I said. I don't know exactly where your mind went. But anyways, Otto Graham was my boy back in Madden days. And I got to see a little bit of him. I saw a few highlights of when he used to play back in the day. But I'm going to have to go with my boy Otto at number 4.
Otto at 4. Is it my turn to do 3? Or is your turn?
No, my turn to do 3.
Do 3, buddy.
My boy Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning.
Peyton Manning. I
Preach.
mean, pretty much, he was pretty much the man-ing
Well played, sir.
of the last decade and a half. I mean, he was pretty much the embodiment of what a quarterback should have been in his time.
Absolutely.
So many records broken, so many great plays, so many clutch plays. Dude was one of the smartest quarterbacks of all time. Just the way he could read defenses. Had one of the ugliest balls of all time. Easily. Dude threw ducks every single pass.
But they were on point.
Especially the only play that really can come to mind that really personifies it is Super Bowl. That throw to Dallas Clark that was in between 4 people and just lays it perfectly.
Perfect teardrop pass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But that's my 3.
That's your 3.
P-Man.
My 3 is Johnny U.
Oh, okay.
Johnny U.
Okay.
Johnny U is one of the ones who perfected the slant route. He was the one that practiced over and over. And not only did he do that, but he also called his own plays in the game.
Yeah.
That was huge.
Yeah.
Johnny U, there's a reason why even Peyton Manning showed so much respect for him.
Because he was the man.
He is the man.
Peyton Manning pretty much kind of tried to model his game after Johnny U.
Absolutely. So we talked about Johnny U a good bit. My number 2, he's definitely forehead above everybody else on the list except for my number 1. It's Peyton Manning. Funny dude, too.
Oh, man, the red forehead.
Yes.
Every time.
I mean, we talked about him there enough, but, man, there was nobody. I mean, I think the only second into preparation to him may be Drew Brees. And the other thing, too, is like with Tom Brady, when he went down, his team still succeeded. When Peyton Manning went down, the Colts sucked.
The Colts ended up with Andrew Luck.
Yeah. Because
that says anything.
Right. Because they were that far up in the draft because they sucked.
Yeah, number 1.
Yeah.
That's how bad they are.
Yeah. Who's your number 2, sir?
Number 2 is Joe Montana.
Joe Montana?
Joe Montana, the clutch. The man.
Joe Montana's a quarterback, you crazy a-hole.
Love it. Joe Montana, I mean, what more can you say?
Right.
I mean, to most other than New England fans, he's the greatest of all time. Other than New England fans and people that think Super Bowls are quarterback stat.
Right.
He's the greatest of all time in most people's eyes.
Absolutely.
And he should be. He's pretty much the clutchest quarterback of all time.
Absolutely.
You put the ball in his hands fourth quarter, it's game time.
Game time.
Every time. But yeah, Joe Montana, number 2.
There weren't too many defenders that he couldn't confuse.
Exactly.
And I mean, 2 of them that were in the Hall of Fame, Ed Reed and Charles Woodson, confused him a couple times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
But that chess match generally went to Peyton Manning.
Yeah.
So before we go into our number 1s, I have a couple honorable mentions. Do you?
I can throw out a couple honorable mentions.
Go ahead, sir. I got 3 honorable mentions that were it was so hard for me not to put them on the list.
You go ahead first.
All right, my 3. What was my first one? It's all in this mix of big names, man.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I got it. Terry Bradshaw.
Actually, yeah. That actually would have been in my honorable mention. 100%.
Terry Bradshaw, Jim Kelly,
Okay.
and Fran Tarkenton.
Oh, my boy Fran.
Fran. The original Russell Wilson.
So, I'm going to say my honorable mentions. Troy, you kidding.
Yeah, right.
Garbage. So, my honorable mentions are definitely going to be, like we said, Terry Bradshaw.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say my boy Roger
Staubach.
And then also, maybe, but no, I'm just gonna say he'll be an honorable mention, just because of his recent performance. But I'll say Aaron Rodgers as an honorable mention.
No.
I will.
Okay.
But that's not my third honorable mention. Let me hold on. Just give me a sec. Just give me a sec. Dude, I'm just going to throw him in there just because I like him.
Yeah.
He's a good quarterback. I just like the guy.
Yeah.
And we ended his career. Kurt Warner.
Yeah. I didn't even
I'm
think
going to
about
throw
Kurt.
him in there.
I didn't even think about Kurt. Yeah, I'm with that.
Sorry from the behalf of Bobby McCray.
Yeah.
Ending your career and such. But he was a great quarterback and a great guy. I like Kurt.
So your number one is
Drew Brees.
Explain, sir. Explain yourself.
I know I'm biased. I'm a New Orleans fan. I have to be biased. Yeah. However, I have room to be biased.
Word.
When I actually look at, a person as a quarterback, not they won 6 Super Bowls. That makes them the best quarterback. No, not on your life. What makes you the best quarterback of all time is, hey, what was your passer rating every year?
Word.
Drew Brees pretty much led every year, all the time. He was at least in top 5.
Or a year.
How about him breaking the accuracy record every year?
Or a year.
Him breaking his own accuracy record every year.
Or a year.
How about the only quarterback to have multiple 5,000-yard passing seasons?
What?
I mean, I don't know what else Drew Brees can do to prove himself to people. Like you said, it's a shame that he's never considered as one of the top quarterbacks, especially when they had the top 10, and he wasn't even in top 10.
It's because they're stupid.
Wasn't Aaron Rodgers in the top 10?
Yes, because they're stupid.
It makes no sense at all. It's amazing that he can do more than any other quarterback, prepare more than any other quarterback, love the game more than any other quarterback, stay healthy. I mean, yeah, he missed 5 games last year, but for the most part, he's been healthy his whole Saints career, more than any other quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what more you can do.
You know why Aaron Rodgers gets the hype over him is because he's a media darling, and the media tells everybody he's that good.
He is, and he has one more Super Bowl win.
Right. Who?
I think Aaron Rodgers does.
He's got 1.
Thought he had 2.
No.
They've been to 2 Super Bowls. Okay. He's got one more Super Bowl appearance.
I don't even think he has 2 Super Bowl appearances.
I'm pretty sure they do have 2.
The Steelers.
I'll have to go look that up.
Steelers and who else?
Steelers.
Yeah, because they lost to the Steelers, didn't they?
They did. Who the heck did they play?
Who'd they beat?
Hold on. You talk a little bit.
Okay.
Who's your number one? You talk. I'll look it up.
You got to give me a drum roll, man. I gave you a drum roll. Come on. That was weak. Try that again. You're a drummer. You got to do better. Here we go. You ready? Now. Jeez, man.
All right.
All right, my number one. You're good. You're good. Drum roll's done. Your drum roll's done. My number one. I hope you're prepared for this. You ready?
I'm prepared.
You have any idea you think you might know who it is?
Not in there. And
my number one quarterback in the NFL of all time is Aaron Brooks. You're right.
So,
no, it's Joe Montana.
I'm sorry, the podcast is over.
Joe Montana, buddy.
The podcast is now the cut live. Writes out. Anyways, go on.
Joe Montana. Joe Montana.
I can wholeheartedly agree with you there, buddy.
Comeback kid. Hands down. Now, don't get me wrong. I loved watching them. That was the years when the Saints were good, too, for the most part. The Dome Patrol and all that, and they would just break my heart as a Saints fan growing up.
Yes.
But he was just the greatest. To me, he was the greatest.
I agree. I can wholeheartedly agree with that because that's why he was my number 2. I know I'm biased with the number 1.
Yeah.
But if Drew Brees wasn't there and he wasn't playing for the Saints and he wasn't as good as he is, Joe Montana would definitely be my number 1.
Yeah.
Easily.
And while you're looking it up, hey, listen, if you you have your own top 10 quarterbacks of all time that you want to put out there, put them out there, man. We don't have a problem with it. This is not a you're right, I'm wrong, I'm right, you're wrong type thing. Just, man, give out who your top 10 is. There didn't have to be any parameter to it. It didn't have to go off stats. It didn't have to go off your favorite team. Whatever you want to do.
So they only had one Super Bowl appearance against the Steelers, and they won.
Oh, okay.
So I thought they had 2, though.
No.
I really did. But, hey, that's our top 10. And for you guys and gals listening out there, go to our thread, and I'll be posting something probably tonight, maybe tomorrow, seeing what y'all's top 10 are. Post them on there. Let's see what you got is your top 10 and see how it compares to ours, and just have fun with it.
Absolutely. Don't get your pennies all in a bunch because it wasn't the way you thought it should have been.
Exactly.
Yeah, just go with it.
Don't be a wuss.
Hey, throw out your top 10.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Our next top 10 we're going to have is going to be running backs.
Running backs. That'll be where I'm at right there.
RBs.
That'll be where I'm at right there.
And then we're also going to, I don't know if we're going to do a mock draft next week or not. We'll talk about it.
Oh, I think we should.
We probably will. We'll at least go over one of the crazy mock drafts they already have.
For sure.
Yeah. So that's pretty much it for this week, unless you had more you want to add.
No, I think that'll be about it. The only thing I can throw out there is thank you to Ben Sound for the track.
That's right. And go check out our friends at Nova Nutrition and All in Sports. I have a couple other friends that we're going to be shouting out pretty soon too. And sorry that the podcast went this long this time, but man, we were having a blast doing it.
Oh yeah. But other than that,
keep listening.
We'll check y'all later. This has been the Right Cut Live.